Hello once again, and welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious. We will review theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most. And this week we are covering Marvel's What If series that is streaming on Disney Plus. We're covering episode 3, titled What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes. All right, let me introduce the crew. I am Doc Rotten, and joining me are Christopher G. Moore, award-winning filmmaker. How you doing, sir?
It's me. Yeah, I'm glad we could talk about this episode of What If. That's almost like the superhero version of Seven. So,
what's in the box?
Oh,
I
no.
know. You don't want to know what's in the box.
Oh no, that's.
It's a lot of exploded green goo.
Oh,
that's what's in the box.
My nightmares. My nightmares. We have a very special guest host tonight, Chad Hunt, comic book artist and the co-host of Every Decades of Horror. Right? You do them all?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, not so special, but thank you.
Yeah,
you are. I feel better about myself now.
Yes, and of course you are a big comic book fan. Or at least the characters. We were talking before the show about the state of comic books in and of themselves, but as far as IPs, they're doing better than ever before. Mm-hmm. And I've never really got to ask you this question, Chad. But when you grew up and you were reading comics in the 70s and the 80s, did you ever think you would have what we have now with the Marvel movies and the DC shows and all these properties and Disney Plus?
Are you kidding? The best we contended with back in the day was the crappy Doctor Strange TV movie and the Spider-Man show and the Incredible Hulk show. That was, you were walking on sunshine because you thought, oh my God, can you believe Spider-Man's on TV?
Yeah.
But now it's like it's just an everyday thing now.
Watching the Spider-Man cartoon from the 60s on reruns.
Even the Fantastic Four cartoon.
Oh my God! Yes, but here we are now. We get, not only do we get the characters we love, we get What If, which is all the alternate versions. Something I didn't think we'd ever get.
No way. No way.
It's a stretch, but so I'll be excited to hear what you think of this. So let's dive into it. What are we going to cover? We are going to cover What If, episode 3. It aired August 25th, 2021 on Disney Plus. What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Superheroes, directed by Brian Andrews, written by Matthew Chauncey and A.C. Bradley. The cast includes, but is not limited to, Jeffrey Wright, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Douglas, Lake Bell, Mick Wingert, Clark Gregg, Frank Grillo, Jeremy Renner, Stephanie Panicello, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Hiddleston, Jamie Alexander. Synopsis is: Nick Fury struggles to launch the Avengers when candidates are targeted by a serial killer. Cue music. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Before we get into this, what we're going to do is give our first impressions. That will be spoiler-free, Chad. Spoiler-free first impressions. And then
I'll try.
Then we'll dive into a discussion which all bets are off. We're going full spoilers. We might even have Easter eggs. I don't know if Christopher had a chance to get some Easter eggs, but I'm sure all of us could bring some. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, and our favorite scene. If you are enjoying this review, we hope you are. Please subscribe down below and share with a friend. And, of course, we'd love to hear your comments down below. All right. So Chad doesn't get thrown too far under the bus. Christopher, I'm going to let you go first. What was your first impression of What If episode 3?
I enjoyed it. Well, I think it's kind of interesting how this What If series can sort of straddle that line between comedic and very dark.
Yes.
And this episode does both. And I also kind of like how we get sort of variations of certain things we've seen in the MCU. And how they sort of change it up. And so this one, I didn't really know where it was going. And there were some moments like, oh gosh, that if you watch in slow motion, it's horrendous. I enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a weird episode, I guess. It's almost like without giving anything too much away, it's almost like the beginning of a different type of Avengers by the end of it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I you know me, it's like I kind of like it when they get kind of dark, and I was not expecting so many heroes to die by the end of it. So and also I love how they're almost like retconning a certain movie from our past with a different actor, but yet
oh my god,
yeah,
that's hilarious.
So but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was entertaining, and I like the little changes, and I kind of like I really like the reveal of the crazy killer by the end of it. I kind of hope I wish they had just a whole what if of just like dark, dreary stories in the MCU, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Well, they have a zombie one coming up, so
yes, they do.
Oh, that's the one I'm most looking forward to. But this one, this one just, it felt like it was like Seven to some degree. It was just very, it was kind of, I mean, still bloodless, kind of.
Except for the green.
Well, that's but still they kind of got away with it with the green smoke, but still it was pretty bloodless. But at the same time, it was kind of gruesome, just how much death happened in this. Although you do learn that evidently Thor smells like lavender.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it.
Smells like lavender. Oh my gosh. Chad, sir, what was your first impression of What If episode 3?
I found this episode more in line with the original comic series. I like the first 2 episodes, but they weren't. I'm not a big fan of the What If stories that used to switch characters, like for instance, what if Black Panther was Star-Lord? Well, he'd still be Black Panther. He's just wearing Star-Lord's clothes because he still has that same character, you know. So I'm not as, those were good, but I really thought this one was more along the spirit of the old comic book, where these little things change and just changes the whole. I mean, that's what the whole series is about. One little thing changes and everything changes. So yeah, I found this one very cool. It had almost a little murder mystery thing going. Some characters come back that we haven't really seen in a while. And if anything, this episode made me want an Incredible Hulk animated series from Marvel too.
Or at least a movie or a TV show.
Or something like that. Yeah, because I just thought that whole sequence was really cool with the Hulk. And I like this one a lot. Like I said, and like Christopher brought out, there's some comedy in there, mingled in with all the kind of dark proceedings going on. But it was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. And this is my favorite one so far.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I liked Lake Bell voicing Black Widow. She
did a pretty good job.
I didn't like her at all.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It was great to have Clark Gregg back as Coulson. Of course, I guess his whole storyline would change, right? Unless Loki's up to something. Because we went into this last week thinking this was going to be a Loki-centric episode. Now Loki's in it, but it certainly isn't a Loki-centric episode. It is more Nick Fury and Black Widow in some ways. But I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed because, like you said, it was dark. This is almost it's, you know, they say serial killer in it, but there's some horror aspects to this. You know, that somebody's out murdering,
big time,
and they're making in some cases the Avengers look like they're doing it themselves, and I was fascinated, and even though I know some people figured out who it was going to be, I totally didn't. So, and the look of the kill I want to see that look realized in live action because that was crazed. The dark eyes and the like, oh man, that would totally work. But I don't want to spoil who it is here but I enjoyed this. Interesting though, I think I still enjoyed the last episodes better. But only by a little. I mean, to me, all three are just as good as each other. I'm looking forward to the next batch. So we got 6 more. So I'm good. Let's keep going.
Yep.
Let's keep it up. Keep it up.
SpaghettiOs.
I'm just trying to make him feel better.
It's the it's not going to help. You know what? While he's frozen there, maybe I'll go through the Easter eggs that I saw. And if you have anything to add, Chad, you could do that as well.
Cool.
This seems to be a common occurrence with Doc. He gets so excited he just freezes in place.
And with that shirt on.
Well, that's part of it. Well, going through some of the stuff I saw, of course, this episode takes place. You never really think about the timelines, but evidently Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor all happened at the same time. The elements of those 3 movies. So we have that.
Right.
To go along with that, which I hinted out earlier, they basically have the elements of The Incredible Hulk instead of Edward Norton.
Yeah.
We have the guy that we know and love, and they actually added his hair on his chest as well.
They did.
Although they do a good job of almost like combining the look of both the Hulks kind of a little bit.
Did.
So that's kind of nice. The Fury speech that he kind of gives in the car with Black Widow that she kind of cuts him off at, that's his famous speech from Avengers where he's trying to hype people up after Coulson died. So we get sort of like a reference to that speech as well. Of course, we get the return of Crossbones and Jack Rowland, who were the guys that from Winter Soldier. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to see them, but in a different perspective. And also tying into that, we go into the Easter egg where Black Widow is fighting them inside that vehicle, which is very reminiscent of the elevator fight scene where Captain America is fighting it. So we sort of get almost like a variation of that. Also, when we're already in spoiler territory. So when we have Thor on the slab and they're sniffing him, it's very similar to Infinity War when the Guardians of the Galaxy are sniffing him.
Yeah.
And so there's a similar thing. And also, I think Drax says something about how he's a beautiful man, which also kind of ties into Coulson and him saying how he looks like a beautiful guy early on in the episode. Speaking
Coulson's
of
password was hilarious.
Yeah, which actually the hashtag Steve I Heart Steve 0704. If we remember from Avengers, Coulson had a huge love for Captain America. He was the biggest fanboy. And actually the 0704 is actually, if you look at the enlistment form from Captain America, that is the birth date of Captain America. Steve Rogers is 0704. So he actually put his birthday in there, which you're not supposed to put in your password, Coulson. Also tying into, we talked about we sort of have this sort of alternate universe, Incredible Hulk with a different Edward Norton. We get a reference to that film when they look at the Stanley Pizza Parley outfit, because that's what he uses to sneak into the university in that movie. Which if you remember that, you'll know that's why he's hiding in that closet or whatever he's at. Towards the end, when we have Samuel Jackson and he multiplies and he's laughing, it's very similar to the end of Thor when Loki repeatedly replicates himself and is laughing. Also, he went towards the end when he says humans crave subjugation. That's actually an exact quote from Avengers when he's talking to the Germans, and he's like, and he says that same thing when he's talking about, you guys need to bow down to me. If you pay attention to the screen, do what?
Glorious purpose.
Exactly. When Black Widow is looking at the screen, the you actually see the Janet Van Dyne has got an X out on it that she's dead. But if you look to the left, you can sort of see that her file was recently looked at. So, which ties into her sort of big revelation. Also, we get to see, of course, we have the big revelation at the end where Hank Pym it's Hank Pym all along, and he's the villain, and he's wearing the yellow jacket suit, which in the comics he was the first to suit up in the yellow jacket suit, although some of that stuff from the 80s, he was not a very nice person. Like slapping the crap out of his wife, and I think in one panel.
Who's responsible for that, Chad? Jim Shooter.
Jim Shooter was the guy that at that point, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, we have a reference to that Hope Van Dyne supposedly died on some mission or something. It's not really directly referenced, but it could possibly be that Odessa mission that Black Widow supposedly went on in the films, where she was Winter Soldier, tried to kill her, and she had a scar. So maybe Hope was killed by Winter Soldier. And this is not really an Easter egg. It's just a really interesting thought. I think after watching this episode, Ant-Man definitely could have gone up Thanos' ass and killed Thanos.
Yes. Oh my God.
Am I wrong? Wrong? What he did to the Hulk? He could have gone up Thanos' ass, and he could have.
No, there's no.
He could have. Yes, I'd hope the helmet's anus proof.
If he can go into that other crazy realm, I'm sure.
Yeah. He's too. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll let you have that one.
But after watching this, you can sort of see how Ant-Man could be probably the most effective serial killer out there in the most horrendous way.
Well, he was in this episode.
Oh my God. I'd love to look on his face. And I was surprised Michael Douglas actually voiced him. That was great.
The way they animated him was just amazing.
I want to see somebody cosplaying with those crazy ass brows.
Yes, old crazy man brows and the beard and the eyes all sunken and dark, and he just looked like he had lost it. But so did we talk about the Nexus event? Like, what is the Nexus event? Is it the Hope? I guess it's Hope, right? Hope Van Dyne dying.
Yeah,
I guess that would be the Nexus event. That would be the change that sort of.
But it's
spurned him on to.
It's interesting that they don't. That's not the center of the story. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not presented to us like it is in the previous two. Do we like it better that way, or do we like the Nexus event in our face?
I kind of like that they changed it a little bit for this one.
Well, you wouldn't have the mystery who the killer is.
Right. You wouldn't have the whole mystery behind it would be given away.
Yeah, it'd be pretty obvious if we knew that was the person that died, because then you would think, oh, it's got to be a family member or somebody, So I think that's kind of cool, is you sort of find it out at the very end of it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm
being fed it.
I don't think I'm suggesting that I want them to change it. I've really, it's just the comparison. Do you like it where the Nexus event isn't actually given to us, or where it's actually given to us?
I think it depends on the story you're telling.
Okay.
It worked in this one because of the nature of the story, whereas the other ones is like, okay, boom, here we go. But yeah, like I kind of liked it that they didn't give everything away like that at the beginning. It sort of let the story sort of unfold. And even when Black Widow said it's all about hope, I'm sure 80% of the people still didn't tie that together, that was who she was talking about or what she was talking about at the time.
I mean, I was trying to figure it out. Like, why Hope? Why is she
Luke Skywalker? Or it's
yeah. Well,
Princess
I mean,
it was another.
It was another. Okay. So I don't know if you discussed it while I was blipped out, but
we were discussing your shirt.
My shirt, cool. It was fine for this episode, but please never explode the Incredible Hulk again.
Yeah, well, I wasn't okay with that.
Like,
well, just go back and watch it and do it in slow motion, because he's like his head sinks in, and then he basically explodes at his joints. It's
No,
It was
I don't
cool.
want to.
I mean, I'm really surprised that still they were able to hide it. I think if they showed like all kind of visceral, although you do get to see what he does to his heart.
Yeah.
Yes, you do see
And
that.
that's like, man, that is kind of, I mean, the Hulk is usually very indestructible, but that's.
Well, of course, from the Immortal Hulk, right, Chad? We know
Yeah,
that
lately
still,
he would come back from that.
Still come back.
Yeah.
Might take him a while longer.
Well, even in the movies, the Hulk's portrayed as really like he can't die.
Right.
I think there was a deleted scene in the Incredible Hulk movie where Edward Norton, Bruce Banner, was going to kill himself. And he actually shot himself, and the Hulk, he transformed immediately to
caught the bullet, right?
Caught the bullet, yeah.
But yeah, I'm a Hulk fan. I know you are too, Chad. So you got the hat on. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But I wasn't okay with that, even though I thought it was cool.
I do want more Agent.
Can Thor be killed that easily with just an arrow?
Well, at that point, he was depowered without his. He was depowered at that moment. And if you remember, he was having trouble in the movie, because he could get drunk and there was all kinds of things he was doing. Until he got his hammer back. Yeah.
Parts of Thor. It's like,
I
hate it when movies strip their power away, and it's like that's not a superhero movie to me.
What's interesting is that that's kind of like what happened in the Marvel Comics Civil War II with Hawkeye and the Hulk, right?
Oh yeah. Because then Hulk was on trial, I guess, for killing the Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk is Bruce Banner went to Hawkeye, said, if I ever get ready to change, get me quick. And that's exactly what he did right before he could change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's stupid. But they did that. And for the longest time, there was no Hulk.
Yeah.
Marvel, what are you doing to your comics? What are you doing to your comics?
Oh, let's not get into that.
That's a whole nother thing.
all comics take it to weird places, no matter if it's Marvel, DC, whatever. They all seem to take it.
Well, after 50 some years.
Well, in the comics, the Thor and the Hulk are the toughest to kill, and they're the strongest, I believe.
But each one has died a couple times and always.
But they always try to kill them off anyway, just like every comic character. So
I never thought I'd watch an animated Marvel show where they're sniffing the dead body of Thor. I never thought I would ever see that. Not to say that I ever want to see that again, but that was very.
I thought I'd seen enough of it in Guardians, and then they do it again here.
I know.
Yeah, it's like, it smells like lavender, and then you see Samuel Jackson going.
Yeah, he does smell like a.
Well, we haven't heard your opinion yet of Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. What do you think of him voicing this character? Now, this is a character that I've been waiting for to show up. Now, we got like that one glimpse of him in Guardians, where the three of them are talking to Stanley. But this is Uatu, right? What do you think?
I think it's a good match for the Watcher. I don't know. I had a problem with the way he was speaking, where he did not seem like the Watcher. He just seemed like another. I don't know. Yeah. Well, the way he was speaking didn't seem very Watcher-like. The Watcher is like this regal character who's very off, distanced himself from everything. So he's
putting on airs.
Yes, of course, putting on airs. Jeffrey Wright portrays him as like a dude sitting next to you watching the show on TV or something. And I'm not saying that's bad, because I like the performance a lot, and I like that they kind of did that to give him a little bit of a personality. But and the Watcher was the main guy from the What If comic. Yeah. So
well, he's also. I always loved it when the Watcher would show up, because if you knew the Watcher showed up, some shit was going.
Something was going down, yeah.
And because they used them sparingly. They've gotten a little out of hand in the past decade or two, but like he would only show up every few years, and it would be something.
And his whole thing was, I'm not allowed to interfere in mankind's and this and that, but he always ends up doing it anyway.
Oh yeah, because
and then he winks at the camera like
softy at heart, at heart. Do you think we'll get a live action version of him?
I hope so. Maybe when the Fantastic Four comes around and they finally get around to telling the Galactus trilogy with the Surfer and the Watcher. I hope they'd bring the Watcher in as well, because he's such a cool character. I mean, that whole area of the Fantastic Four with the Watcher and all that was just such a great time for comics, and that and I love the Watcher from that point on, from those early issues of Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. So when What If the comic came out, I was like, oh my God, the Watcher has his own comic book. And that opened up it opened up the whole universe for me as a kid. Mm-hmm. And What If was such an important book to me, because but they do it all the time now, where it's almost normal, where they'll tell these different types of stories, like Elseworlds for DC and that kind of thing, where they tell these stories that aren't really canon. But at the time it came out, it was a very special book to me, because it just opened up all these possibilities of things that could happen. So that's what I'm hoping for the show as well. And I've been very happy with the way the show's been going so far. So yeah, I love the Watcher, if that answers that question.
I like the way he'll pop up like in the background in the sky.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's almost cool but creepy at the same time.
It's creepy, but it's like they're just showing that he's doing his job. He's watching everything. So I thought that was a cool way to interpret that ability of his. Not everybody, we can see him, but I don't think everybody else can see him in the background on some of those.
Do you think he'll be more integral, like season 2, maybe?
I don't know. There's been instances in the comics where he stepped in to change the direction of how things were going in the comic book. So I think it would be a cool thing, because people look at him now and they just go, oh, he's this big baby head guy, that just stands there and tells a story or whatever. But he's actually a really compelling character and a cool character. So I would hope they would involve him more in some of the stories in the future. So
I think it'll be hard to sort of, because we had sort of a live action version of it in the movies, and that was kind of weird looking. So I'm wondering like if they ever incorporated it into any of the movies, how that's going to work. Oh, by the way, with you being an artist and stuff, what do you think about the animation style with the series?
I know a lot of people don't care for it, but I love it. It's very cinematic. It's very realistic. It's an animated version of the movies, basically. They're not trying to be very cartoony with it, and which I like. And it allows them to kind of tell these crazy stories that I think they can't really tell in a live action setting. So I love the animation in it. I think it's
I think there was like something I saw recently that said the only thing that irked some people was the mouth movements are kind of off with the words, so they're not really paying attention to that. But it's animation.
It's animation. Yeah, all the voices are recorded before. The animation is drawn, so sometimes it might be a little.
But at the same time, like you're watching it for action, I think the action in this series so far is really, that whole Black Widow fight in the back of the van was pretty badass, where she's like, she's kicking this person, punching this person, flipping her, swinging around to hit this person.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Well, that's very much so. All right, well, let's go ahead while I'm still here. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Give our final thoughts.
You're not the Watcher.
1 to 5. There's another name for me, and we can't say it on the show.
I was getting ready to say there's another name for guys like you.
All right. You know what, Chad? I'm going to let you go first there. I want to know your final thoughts, your score 1 to 5, and your favorite scene.
Final thoughts are... keep going. I like where the show is going. And just like any storytelling thing. There's some things that I don't care for. There's some things I do, but overall, I really like this series and where it's going. And I'm so glad they decided to go with a what if. And so this particular episode, I'm going to give it a 3.
Oh,
I really liked it. I like the story. I like the animation. Favorite scene, of course, is the Hulk scene.
No,
And I knew I was going to steal that from you.
No, you're not stealing it from me. That's not my favorite thing.
Oh, okay, good. But it was funny to see Mark Ruffalo's voice come out of that version of the Hulk. And I just thought it was very cool, and how it kind of recreated that scene from the movie where he's
when they go across the
the
bridge,
overpass, and he jumps out. Good stuff.
Good stuff. All right, Christopher G. Moore, your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene.
Yeah, I think it's another fun episode. I mean, I think for me, I think with each episode, I hope they kind of do different things, and they kind of have a little bit there. You have like one that's more. You have one like the Captain Carter one, which is more just it's almost like the Captain America, but the Captain Carter America. And then you have the second one, which was more like, it definitely has the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, but also it takes in different directions, and you see all these other characters that have been changed. And so, and then it also has like some sort of, it's a little bit more, I guess, fun spirited, I guess, the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one's, I mean, it still has like the comedic edge, but also, it's like a murder mystery. So I think each thing, I'm sure when we get to the Marvel Zombies, that's going to be more like The Walking Dead of superhero films or something.
Yeah.
So I think with each, I think almost like doing different subgenres of each of these, I think is really interesting. And because I think my biggest worry is, even though I enjoyed the first one, is like I just didn't want everything to be like, okay, like Chad was saying, like this is this character arc from the movies, but we replaced it with this character, and there's all these little changes that happen because of that, and it just feels like we're just basically using the same formula in every episode. And so I'm glad we're sort of venturing out of that, and this one definitely goes into some weird directions, because we get to sort of see what happens if Loki was able to reign over the earth like he wanted.
I know, that's weird.
So we get to sort of see those variations, or even things we didn't even use, like the freeze cube, which people thought was a tesseract in the Thor movies. We actually get to see the use of that more of this. So yeah. So I enjoyed it, and I definitely enjoy when they have like a darker edge to it. When you have a whole episode which dedicated just killing off each of the Avengers, that's some pretty dark stuff for something that's supposed to be Marvel and on Disney Plus. So major props for that. As for a rating, I will, and also I love Hank Pym as a villain. I kind of wish we had him. He's almost like a Dr. Evil type villain. And if somebody does not cosplay as that sometime soon with the bushy eyebrows, they're going to be missing out. As for rating, I will give it I give it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. But it seemed very other than the murder mystery, it was kind of simplistic with each of the kills and stuff, to where it's like there wasn't a lot to it other than, and then the ending kind of like, it kind of made you wonder. It's like, was his plan just to kill everybody affiliated with Avengers? It wasn't as clear to me. As for favorite scene, I kind of mentioned it. One of my favorite things was watching Black Widow and her fighting inside of that van. That was just a well choreographed thing that I think it's almost like, I think it's done all in one shot too. And just how her movements, just showing her abilities as an assassin, how she could just use every part of her body and do different things. And even though she's surrounded by guys, I mean, kind of definitely similar to the Captain America and the elevator thing, but yeah, that's probably my favorite. It's probably my favorite scene in this episode.
Good choice. Good choice.
Mm.
I enjoyed this. I thought it, I liked the dark aspect of it. I like it that it's a twisted version of the, the first Avengers movie, except for here they, as the title says, what if we lost all our mightiest heroes? It was fun. I enjoyed it. I like the aspects of it that we're talking about. I love seeing the, the Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner in that original role. I love that part. Like he did. I don't like what they did to the Hulk, but hey, I gotta take the good with the bad, right? Or the bad with the good. I don't know how that goes, but anyway, it's interesting what you're saying about the, just switching out the characters, because some of those have stuck, right? Like, what if Jane Foster was Thor? That became a thing, right? That
was one of the original What If comics. Yeah.
It was like in the first 10, right? Somewhere in there.
Yeah, early on.
And they did like, what if I remember if Rick Jones was the Hulk, and that they kind of did that too. So
we might get that Jane Foster thing and certain movie coming out.
That's the Wuma. The Wuma, we're gonna get it with the Love and Thunder. She's gonna be the love part, right? I'm gonna give this a 3.75. Yeah, let's do that. And my favorite scene is going to be the multiple and the vanishing Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury battling Yellow Jacket, Hank Pym as Yellow Jacket, and him just going like, "How are you doing this?" He's like totally befuddled, and it was glorious. I liked it, and of course you knew what was going on, right? You're like, "Oh, this is Loki. That's great." I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a lot of fun.
It was a good episode.
Yep. All right, there you go. That is our review of What If episode 3. We are 7 minutes longer than the episode itself. So hey, thanks for hanging out. Chad, thanks for joining us this episode. It was great to have you. I hope you'll come back for more.
Whenever you want.
You got it.
I'm glad you guys asked me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and Christopher, of course, as always, thank you for joining me.
Always happy to be here. Finger guns out.
Now we're going to miss you next week because you're going to be at Dragon Con.
Yes, I will be at Dragon Con. So I will be doing all my own variants and what ifs.
I saw a hint of one on Instagram. Are you doing that one? That hint that you did?
I will be doing Doctor Strange from the Spider-Man trailer and his winter coat variation. So I will be doing Nandor from What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, nice.
I'll be on a fan panel there. I'm sure Chad will love knowing that I'll be moderating a panel with 2 storyboard artists. I can't remember their names offhand, but one of them did the storyboards for Hereditary.
Oh,
and
wow.
The other guy did the storyboards for, I think it was season 9 of Walking Dead. So, and I think he's done storyboards for other things as well. So that's going to be kind of cool. And I'll be doing other panels and stuff. A lot of them are the horror track. So you can definitely go, if you're going to Dragon Con or you're in Atlanta, you're coming on any specific days, you can check out the app and look under Christopher G. Moore, and it lists all my panels, because I'm doing one on 40th anniversary Evil Dead. I'm doing one on the werewolf films that came out, like the year the American Werewolf in London came out. I'm doing one on David Cronenberg.
Nice stuff.
So yeah, lots of good stuff. I'll be traveling out there, being safe as well. I'll be wearing a mask the whole time. So
we won't know it's him. Where's Chris?
Yeah, but I will be at the headquarters of the TVA, which is the Marriott.
That's right. That's right.
Be lots of pictures from the TVA.
Yeah.
So if you need me to change anything time-wise in your lives, let me know, and I can.
Oh my God, I got a list a mile long here.
No. Oh man! Of course, we speaking of the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, we did a quick reaction to it when it came out on Monday night. Right? Was it Monday night? It was right.
Monday? Yeah.
Was it Monday? It was.
Yeah,
right?
because it was a CinemaCon. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to review that in December.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Man. All right, well let's go ahead and wrap this up and say goodnight. So let's say goodnight, guys. Bye, bye, bye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.